everyone, my name's Laura and you're watching my channel So Very Laura. So welcome if you're new here, and welcome back if you're an existing subscriber. And apologies for the kind of shadow puppet version of me on the back. It's a bit dark here, so I've got all my lights on, but I wanted to stand here so that I've got my cutting table in front of me and I've got whole loads of stuff to show you, so it's just easier to stand up and do it from here. So sorry about the puppetry shadows on the back wall. So today's vlog is a bit of a Sunday catch-up. So I'm going to start off by showing you some things that I've bought primarily in the month of March. Some of them at the Sewing for Pleasure show at the NEC, but others of them online. And I'm going to do my bit of launching a lovely new collaboration that I'm going to be doing with Mandy from Make It Sew. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's happening with me generally and how that's impacting on my sewing plans for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So if that's something that interests you, please stick around. So starting off with what I bought, and as I say, I went to the Sewing for Pleasure show at the NEC. And I didn't do a separate vlog about that because I didn't buy all that much, and also lots of the other lovely vloggers that I met, Sam Sequin Girly Creates, Jess So What If I Sew, Sam So Let's Sparkle with Sam, Michelle the Menopausal Sewist, and Seamstress Ruth all did vlogs about it. So I had a great time meeting up with them. I'd spent the day before there with a friend from work, and I kind of thought I'm just going to hang on and I'm going to just talk to you about what I bought in a vlog along with everything else that I've got this month. So that's this vlog. So the first things that I'll show you are to go in my sewing caddy, which if you're new here you won't have seen this before. But I made this up so that I could use it when I'm going to sewing socials, or also if I go and stay with my mum for any length of time. I tend to try and take at least my overlocker with me so I can do some sewing while I'm there. So I'll pop the name of the pattern that I used along the bottom of the screen, and I'll link to the vlog where I did a review of it. But I really wanted one that zipped up because I'm so clumsy that otherwise if I got it out of my car I'd just drop it and everything would go all over the floor. So here's my sewing caddy, and I wanted some sewing tools that I could just leave in it so that I can just keep it ready to go and just basically chuck it in with my sewing stuff when I go. So the first batch of things I'm going to show you is things that I got at Sewing for Pleasure to go in my sewing caddy. So I got, and these were all from the Fiskars stall, so I got myself a set of snips, really just because I've always wanted a set of snips, so I just got these. Yeah, so I got my set of snips, and now I've shown you them, I can put them in my caddy. I've had them kind of sitting around ready to do this vlog. And then I got myself a set of little tiny scissors as well. And I just think these are so pretty. There you go. Can you see? So yeah, and I particularly chose these because they've got a little plastic cover so that hopefully they won't start poking holes in the sewing caddy. But yeah, they've got really nice, delicate colours on them. And then the final thing that I got to go in my sewing caddy is just a seam ripper, because I thought that, again, I've got quite a few, but they're all probably getting a bit old. So I thought it wouldn't do me any harm to get a new one, and I chose one with a nice big kind of ergonomic handle. Let me get it out. She says I should have taken it out before, shouldn't I? It's got a rubber handle actually. There we go. So it's going to be quite nice to hold. And again, it's got a lovely cap on it. So I just think that that's good for travelling about, where, because I keep my seam rippers in a drawer here, so it's not so bad. But yeah, so it doesn't catch on my sewing caddy. So I got all those from Fiskars, and also from Fiskars I got myself, very excitingly, I got myself some pale green thread to go with a fabric that I've had for a little while and want to get sewn up into a blouse. So I got that while I was at it. The other thing I got before I get on to fabric was I went to the lovely Becky's Sewing Studio stall. And she was really lovely. And Jess and Sam went off to see her while I went to get some fabric that I'd seen the day before. And then when I came back to meet back up with them, I saw that she'd got some really pretty jewellery. And so I bought these. So I got a necklace, which hopefully you can see. Can you see? There you go. Is a little sewing machine, kind of leopard print sewing machine with a kind of pink bit where the kind of, I guess, where the stitch, the computerized stitches would show, and a blue, what do you call that? Stitch bed? I can never remember what it's called. The needle plate would be. And then I got some earrings which match. So pick out the blue, but they basically say sociopath on. So I thought that was quite fun. So, and sociopath is obviously spelled S-E-W. So I picked those up and they were really pretty reasonably priced. But I'll link everything that I talk about below where I possibly can. So that was my jewellery. And then everything else that I bought there was fabric. So some of what I'm going to show you now was at the Sewing for Pleasure show, and some of it I've got separately. In fact, I think there's only one piece of fabric that I've got that wasn't Sewing for Pleasure. And this is some black jersey. And if you've been watching my So Frugal vlogs, you will know exactly why I bought some black jersey. Because it's ribbing, sorry, it's not jersey, it's black ribbing. And I got this in Monmouth, which isn't far away from me, and I picked up 2 meters of it. And I got it because when I was doing my plans for So Frugal, I wanted to make a bomber jacket, and I just didn't have enough ribbing to fit the cuffs and the waistband and the collar. So I've now rectified that. And the other reason I got so much of it is because I want to make some pajamas, and I've got some mauve jersey with kind of like black leopard print squiggles on, and so I can do the cuffing in this. I think it's probably easier than trying to match up the mauve, so I made sure I got plenty, and that was £10 a metre, so not too bad. So that was the only piece of fabric to show you, which isn't massively exciting, but that didn't come from Sewing for Pleasure. Then this was a freebie. When I went in on the Friday, I was given a voucher for something called Craft TV, and if you went to their stand, you got a free goodie bag. And I finally found it on the Saturday, and they gave me a goodie bag with this piece of fabric in, and they were very good. And they also gave me a second goodie bag for my friend who'd been there on the Friday, so I was quite impressed with that. And it's just I never know how you pronounce it, Catapulted piece of cotton with this kind of black vine pattern, and I think that's quite pretty, and it'll be fine for doing things like, you know, making pockets, things like that. I don't think there's very much of it, but I quite like that. So yeah, that was nice. And for free, absolutely fine. Okay, on to other purchases. So I bought this on the Friday, and I've got two 2 meter cuts of this. And I got this from Bombay Fabric Store. They had a stand there, and they were selling this. It's polyester jersey, and they were selling it in 2 meter cuts. And I quite liked it. It's fairly bright with these purple and red bits in on the black background. And I got this because I wanted to do a wearable toile of the Sew Over It Know Me dress, which you might remember I was talking about making in one of the fabrics that's a hog in my fabric stash, taking up all the space. I'll link the vlog down below. And I wanted to make it with quite an expensive fabric, so I wanted to do a wearable toile first. And this, I think, was £10 for 2 meters. So yeah, so I got 4 meters of it, identical bundles for £20, whereas my other fabric I think is something like £14 a metre. So I thought it was worth it. And actually, if it works out okay, that'll be really quite nice for the winter months, I think. So I picked that up. My next piece of fabric is also from Bombay Fabric Store, because while I was buying that fabric, I saw somebody having this fabric cut and I really liked it, and I didn't buy it at the time. And I kind of thought about it, and you know when you can't get a fabric out of your head, and I couldn't get this one out of my head. And so I went back on the Saturday and bought 2 meters of it. So it's just I think it's actually a quilting cotton. It's one of those, what do they call them? I can't remember what you call it now. A blender fabric, that's it. So it's got this kind of marbly pattern on it. And I can't remember how much it was. I'll put it on the screen below. It's about something like about £8.50 a metre, I think. And that's just to make a shirt. It will add to my ever-growing pile of fabric when I go, I'm just going to make a shirt out of that, and I need to get on and make some shirts. And then my final piece of fabric, and I went with specific intention of trying to find something for a particular purpose, and that is my collaboration with Mandy, the lovely Mandy from Make It So. And you might have seen, I think she's mentioned on her channel, she reached out in a vlog where she was doing her Make 9, and she wanted to do the Tilly and the Buttons Mila dungarees and the Sew Over It Sorrento jacket. And she said, if anybody wants to do a collab on one of those, please reach out and let me know. So I went back and said I'd be interested in doing either of those with her, and we chose the Sorrento jacket by Sew Over It. So I bought this from Higgs and Higgs, and it is a denim in a kind of, let me see if I can get it. That's coming up pretty true. It's kind of a greeny blue. It's coming up quite light. If you look there where the light's not shining on it, that's probably a truer colour. So it's kind of tealy colour, and I'll link it down below. I think they've still got it in stock. And it is very slightly stretchy. The instructions for the jacket from Sew Over It say it's fine if it's got a little bit of stretch. And I think this has got something like 1% stretch in it, horizontal stretch. But you can see a little bit of give, but nothing much. So that will be absolutely fine. And I wanted something that was just a bit different. I didn't want a standard blue. And I really like this colour, and I think it quite likes me. And so I chose this one, and that is for my version of the Sorrento jacket. Now, Mandy and I had a lovely long chat this week on FaceTime, so much so that my phone battery ran out. So I kind of cut her off right the way through showing her my jersey fabric, which was a bit of a shame. But we managed to reconnect, and we agreed that we would each just introduce our fabric and the collaboration in our vlogs that we're putting out this week, rather than doing a separate launch vlog. And we are hoping to do our reveal hopefully late May. But we're both kind of a bit, if you've been watching Mandy, you'll know she's got a new job, and I'll tell you a little bit more about where I'm at the moment. So the plan is to aim for late May, but we'll see. It might go into June, but that's the plan at the moment. So that is the fabric that I'm intending to use. And then I went out this week to another local fabric shop and just got some thread to go with it. But my top stitching thread is going to be this kind of rust colour, which I think will show it really nicely, and hopefully will show some decent top stitching. I'm wondering whether to be brave and try to use my mum's sewing machine for the top stitching, so I don't have to keep swapping over machine. I'll pop a picture of my mum's sewing machine in here, which she very kindly gave to me, and which I've named Bridget because she's a Jones. And I did partly ask her if she minded if I took it, because I thought it would be easier when doing top stitching for doing things like jackets and jeans. And frankly, she doesn't use it anymore, and it's super heavy. So I think if she ever decided she wanted to go back to sewing, she'd need a more modern, lighter machine. But anyway, I might give it a go, but I will definitely be trying on scrap fabric first. So Mandy, I'm sure, will show you her fabric, but it was interesting, and we had a bit of a smile about it. So yeah, let's just say our thoughts might be running along the same lines. So yeah, and we also were chatting about whether or not we were going to toile it. And I was thinking that I might toile it. I've already got the pattern printed out. I bought the it's from the Summer Dreaming ebook by Sew Over It, and I bought it in a sale, and I had all the PDFs done at the time. So I've already got it printed out, which is great. And I was thinking I would toile it, but then I had a brainwave, which is that I do own a ready-to-wear denim jacket. So this came from Marks and Spencer, and I bought it probably about 6 years ago, before I moved to Wales, certainly. And you'll see it's got all this lovely embroidery on the sleeves and on the front yoke. And I really like this. And so what I did the other day, when the weather wasn't blowing a hoolie like it is now, is I wore this outside. So I wore it for a day. I think it was the day I went into Monmouth, and it was absolutely fine. And this is a size 12 ready to wear. But what I thought I could do, which would probably save me making the toile, is to measure the key points on this and then pick the size that best reflects those by measuring the pattern as well. So I think hopefully I won't need to do a toile. This is a bit longer. I'll put a picture of the Sorrento jacket here, but it does cut off at the waist. So I think I need to decide whether I want to lengthen it or not. And I might also lengthen the sleeves a smidge. I don't know what it is, but my arms seem to be a little bit longer than standard, which I'd never really thought about before. But just about everything I make at the moment, I feel like I want to lengthen the arms. That is all the fabric I got. So we will keep you posted, Mandy and I, about how we get on with our collaboration. And in fact, it's really nice because this is the 7th of April, and Sam Sequin Girly Creates is doing one of her Southern Sewing Socials down in Buckinghamshire on Sunday next week, which I'm going to, and Mandy has managed to book herself on as well, so I'll get to meet her in person for the first time, although I feel like I've known her forever, although we've never met. So Mandy, if you're watching, I'm really looking forward to meeting you and having a good old catch up in person, so that'll be lovely. So that's it in terms of fabric purchases. I've got 2 patterns to show you, and then we'll get on with future plans. So, sorry for going out of shot. Whoops. You can tell this is live, can't you? Or shot live. I just knocked the camera over. So, the first pattern I've got to show you, I did actually buy at Sewing for Pleasure, but it got sent to me in the post by the lovely lady from My Handmade Wardrobe. Because she'd actually run out of the paper copies of the pattern. So this is the Cozy Jersey Tunic and Dress, which Sam Sequin Girly modelled on the catwalk on the day. And I just think it's really versatile. So you can do it with colour blocking, you can do it with a waist tie, you can do it as a tunic, or you can do it as a dress. And I just really liked it. Really liked it on Sam on the day, so I decided that I would get that. But as I say, it came in the post a little bit after the Sewing for Pleasure, probably about a week later. So that was that pattern, and obviously that's for jersey knit. And I also picked this up from Sew Direct online when McCall's were having their half price sale, and I'd actually seen this in their kind of, I think, fairly new releases, this McCall's. So it's McCall's M8448, and it's this, again, it's a jersey dress, but I just really like the way that you can colour block it. And I'm an absolute sucker for an asymmetric hem. So I thought that this would be really nice, and something that actually, if you make it in kind of pretty enough colours, it'd be really quite nice for going out in. And I am going to a 60th birthday party dinner in September, so I thought that if I could find some nice jersey between now and then, that might be a really nice pattern to make for it with the long sleeves. So yes, it's kind of mid to late September, but with it being a dinner, I think hopefully it wouldn't be too hot to wear something like that. So that is really why I picked up that pattern. And that is all my purchases. Oh, apart from very exciting purchased at John Lewis last week, some wide elastic for a waistband, which I will come to in a minute. So that's the end of the purchases. So I said I would give you a little bit of a life update, and also let you know how that is impacting on my sewing. So my big news, and I can't tell you as much as I was going to tell you, because I think with the Easter week, people have been on holiday and things. I've been off all week. I am leaving my current job, and officially I'm leaving at the end of April, but I only have 2 more weeks to work because I've got some annual leave to use up. And so, yes, I've been there 6 years, and it is time to move on, as they say. So what I'm now going to do is get a quick holiday in a few weeks' time, really, before I move on to pastures new and whatever I decide to do next. And we're going to Florida. So it's a really good time of year to go because it's not hurricane season and it's not the rainy season. So it should be really quite nice and warm, not to say hot. And so we're going to do all the Disney stuff and the Universal Studios, and we're going to hope to play golf if we can manage to remember how to play, because we haven't played for ages. And we've got a villa, so we'll be able to relax by the pool and sit in the hot tub, and it'll be lovely. So suddenly, out of nowhere, because this we were kind of thinking we ought to book a holiday, but we hadn't got round to it, and then suddenly it's like, oh, we're going on holiday. So all my thoughts about kind of spring in the UK have kind of gone out the window a bit, and I'm thinking, holiday sewing. So I can't be completely certain what I'm doing next, and so kind of medium-term plans are on hold, although hopefully that's going to be sorted out in the next week or so. But at the moment, I think it's probably sensible to concentrate on sewing for the holiday. Right, so here's what I am thinking, other than my collaboration with Mandy in the short term. So I have got one project which is on the go, and if you've been watching me a while, you'll know it's been on the go a while. And this is the Tilda shirt dress by Atelier Jupe, which I started making in this Fiskars chalet fabric. Excuse me, it's now going to go. I'm going to get zip noises. I'll just pull out a remnant bit which I was using to practice on, and it's this fabric from Lady Macroy. It's a viscose chalet, and it's super slippy, and I think that's one of the reasons that I haven't just got on and sewn it up. And I suspect, even with my bit of weight gain, and I mentioned to you that I'm trying to watch what I eat and exercise a little bit more, but I think hopefully it will still fit me, because it's quite a loose fit, and then it ties with a waistband, self-fabricated waistband. So I'll pop a pic in here. So I think I could do worse than try to finish that for the holiday. I don't think I'm going to need a lot of smart clothes, because we're unlikely to go out all that much anywhere smart. However, my husband has a half cousin who lives in Florida, so if we can get a chance to catch up with him and his wife, then you never know, we might go out to dinner or something. So it'd be nice to have one smart outfit there. And also it'd be good to have that for the summer here as well. So that is plan number one, is to try to finish the shirt dress. I have started doing it. I think I might have ended up with that thing called a wibbly placket, and I think that's the point at which I stopped and went on to something else. So yeah, I need to just have a look, see where I've got to, and try to finish it if I can, I think. So that's the first plan. My second plan isn't actually for me, it's for my husband. So before when was it? It was for So Yellow for Endo 2023. I made him some shorts with some fabrics with minions on, so I'll pop a pic of him in those here. And he really likes them, and we went on a cruise in the May, and he wore them on that, and he also wore them, we went to Lanzarote in November and he wore them there as well. But when we were on the cruise, we picked up some fabric in Spain, which you might have seen me mention before, and it's this. But unfortunately, what we didn't spot in the shop is that it's got kind of dirty mark on it there. I don't know if you can see. It's just basically there, so I'm going to have to cut round that. But this was to make him some more shorts, and I am sure that I'm going to have enough fabric to do that, even with that mark on it. They don't take that much fabric, but he quite likes loud shorts, and I'm very happy to make some for him. So I have that fabric, and when we did the Minions shorts, we realised that the fabric was see-through, and he's decided that he wants these lining as well, and I have enough of the fabric I bought them for lining to do that again. So that is the other plan. So fingers crossed, he's going to try on the Minions ones and make sure he's still happy with the fit. I do own both sizes of the pattern, the sort of small size band and the large size band, and he's at the top of the small size band. But if he changes his mind, it's fine, because I did a toile of the larger one and it was way too big for him, and I think it still will be. But if he has put on a little bit of weight, it's okay, because I can make it in the larger size. So either way, we will be cooking on gas, and that'll be fine. Next, I am thinking still that I would like to do one of the things that I said I might do for So Frugal and didn't, and that is to make a Lego tank by Itch to Stitch out of this nightshirt that I was given by my American knitting friend. So I won't talk about that too much because I've already talked about it, but it does occur to me that it might be good to get that sewn up and made, because for, you know, sitting around or wandering around the shops or something, that would be quite nice to have in the States as a sleeveless top. And I'll pop a pic of the Largo in for you. So that struck me as quite a quick make. And then finally, in terms of what I'm going to talk about in this vlog, I have always thought that wide leg trousers wouldn't suit me. And then I went shopping with my mum probably about 6 months ago, before we went to Lanzarote, and I decided I wanted to try on a top, and I think I was wearing a dress at the time, so I grabbed some wide leg trousers just as something to try on with the top. Didn't buy the top because I didn't like it, but really liked the wide leg trousers and bought them. So I kind of am thinking that I'd quite like a pair of wide leg trousers to take with me on holiday, again, because they'll be loose and comfortable. And you might remember, if you've been watching me for a while, that was the catalyst in the end for me to buy the Tilly and the Buttons book, Make It Simple, so that I could make the sapphire trousers, which are, I'm sure you've seen them before, but the wide leg trousers. So Tilly's got the dungaree version on the front. Now, I don't know whether I want them quite as wide as that. I might dig out my ready to wear and just see how wide those are. But they have, if I show you the line drawings, they have a sort of flat fronted waist and then gathering at the back. And I think they should be fairly quick to whiz up. And that's why I bought my elastic. So I've got some elastic for the waistband. And I am thinking about two fabrics. So the first one is one that was gifted to me. If you've been watching me a while, you'll know I got, and you might have seen this before actually, I got given some fabric by a kind neighbour who was just getting rid of a whole batch of fabric. So some of it was lining, which I've used, and this was one of the pieces. And I've measured it again, and it's about 145 centimetres wide, and it is about 2 meters 20 long. So I might just have enough fabric, and I think it's probably kind of polyester, but I think that might look quite nice in trousers. They're nice and drapey. So yeah, again, I thought that would be quite a good one to get made up in that. If I can't get some trousers out of it, I might see if I can make up a loose top in it or a shirt or something. My other alternative fabric is this one, which I bought, and again, if you've been watching me ages, you'll have seen this before. I bought this initially to make a shirt dress, but I think actually this might make really nice trousers, and I've definitely got enough of this, and I think I might even have enough to make a matching top. So we'll see, because then I could get a kind of faux jumpsuit look. So yeah, so that's my alternatives. I'll probably try and see if I can get it on the red burgundy fabric first and see how I go, because since that fabric was gifted to me, if it all goes horribly wrong, it's not such a loss. I mean, this wasn't expensive. This came from Pound Fabrics, but I would say because I've got so much of it, if I don't like the fit of the trousers or something, I'd rather make sure that I hang on to this and use it for something else if the Sophia pants don't work for me. So that's it in terms of definite plans. I'm also thinking that I might try and sew up some jersey into some t-shirts. So maybe the Naya t-shirt, which I've got stuck together already by Tammy Handmade. Possibly something like the Agnes tee. I don't honestly know. I'll have to have a think, but I may try and get a couple of t-shirts sewn up. But rather than spend ages showing you possible jersey makes and stuff, I'm going to leave it there for now, and I will show you what I make when I've made it, or maybe next week if I'm part way through. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I will see you all very soon in my next vlog. Bye for now.